What's up, guys? Welcome back to Household CEO, where we help you save money, live smarter, and take control of your household. So today I'm going to talk about the Elon smart thermostat. So this is basically a smart hot water system, and basically I purchased this to turn a geyser into a solar geyser. That when I spoke about my gas geyser, that will basically heat up the water during the day, and if it's not hot enough, then it will then go through the gas geyser. So I want to talk about more about this product, and why I went with it, and basically give you a look at what it is. So essentially, it's just a replacement of a normal thermostat. So as you can see, it's got the node that goes in to the geyser, and then these points obviously go into the element. You got your DC and you got your AC. So your DC is obviously for your solar panels, and your AC is for ESCOM. So you can run this purely off solar, right? Or you can run it with ESCOM. So for example, if you have got 4 panels, which I'm putting up, which I'm going to be having is 4 panels at 550 watts each, which will give me a total output of 2.2 kilowatts. And my element is going to be 4 kilowatts because I'm going to be running a 200 liter geyser. It will essentially cover 50% of it, but I'm going to leave the ESCOM side off completely because I'm fortunate enough that I have the gas geyser ready. So what is the reason why I chose to use the Elon Smart Thermostat, considering that I don't know anybody that has used the Elon Smart Thermostat? I wanted something that was going to be easy for me to understand, because obviously I want to be in control of my hot water. I want to be in control of, I want to know how the installation was done. So if anything goes wrong, it's better to troubleshoot like that. And and there's a lot of other factors where you just want to know what are you using and how the product works, and basically how easy it is to install, because you get different types of alternative heating sources than obviously heating with the geyser. You have a heat pump, which basically is like an outdoor unit, which will then connect to your geyser, and it's like an aircon that I believe uses the air outside to heat up the water and then basically pump it to a geyser, but that needs electricity. So I did look at that option. Also, the prices of those, they're very expensive. And if you look for a second-hand one, you can get one between 6,000 and 8,000 rand on marketplace. But then again, they've been used. You don't know how long they've been used. You don't know if they've been serviced regularly. So I did look at that option. And then you got the geyser wise, which is another option. But it's just too many components for me. There's a MPPT. There is the element that you have to change. There's the gaskets that you have to change, and so many wiring where this is literally panels going into the one side, and then the wiring for the geyser side going into the other side. So it's simple, easy for an electrician to connect. Sorry, and then you got solar heating with the tubes. So with that, the thing is that I don't have the space on my roof to confidently put on solar tubes. And also I was just thinking of the piping, because obviously the water has to flow into the solar tubes and then basically out when the water's hot enough and then back. So the logistics of having the piping done for the solar heating tubes, it was just going to cost too much. So I was basically looking for something that's cost effective. But what is cost effective these days, because they're all quite expensive. Easy to install, that I can do basically, probably I'd say 70% of the work. I need a plumber that's going to put the geyser on for me, and then obviously do the piping from the geyser into the gas geyser. And then I'm going to have an electrician that is going to do the wiring from the solar panels, obviously into a combiner box, and then from the combiner box to the smart Elon thermostat. I also did a lot of reading and looked at what is nice is that Elon has got a very informative info pack on their website, and I will also link the description down, and I want to go through some of them with you so that I can show you what I'm expecting to kind of save, and what kind of payback period, and what kind of heating I could potentially get. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my laptop out, but I also have it on the screen here, right here next to me, so you can follow with me. Right, so the first thing I'm going to look at is impact, location, and seasons, right? So the amount of energy from the sun, depending on your location, the time of year, as well as the orientation of your solar panels. Obviously, your panels need to be at a certain angle in order to get the best, for the panel to work its best. Best direction for the panels in South Africa is facing north at an angle of about 25 to 35 degrees. Okay, so that's other factors that I've got a nice sunroom area here where I can actually fit about 4 solar panels facing north at that angle, which is ideal. Okay, so there's different as I said, there's different kind of areas. So you've got Upington, Johannesburg, Mobela, Cape Town, but I'm going to talk about where I'm in Johannesburg, Pretoria, right? So we get about 1,871 kilowatt hours on average per kilowatt hour of the solar panels, right? So it says, although Gauteng, Johannesburg, and Pretoria may seem quite similar in terms of solar energy per year, Cape Town has winter rainfall and Gauteng has summer rainfall. This leads to Cape Town having much lower solar electricity production than Gauteng in winter. Basically saying that in summer, we're probably going to have less hot water because we have obviously quite a bit of rainfall in Johannesburg. Not saying we're not going to have, not at all, but that's why I've got the gas geyser as the backup. And then in winter, we should have better days of solar production and vice versa for Cape Town. So the next slide I'm going to go into is the payback period. So the payback period decreases as the size of the solar PV array increases. I mean, it's pretty common sense that obviously the more solar panels you have, the quicker your payback period, because the quicker you can heat up water. So, but you also got to understand the max voltage that the Elon smart thermostat can take, which is 230 volts, and ideally you want to be at least, I'd say, 10 to 15% below that. So whatever panels you're putting on, you just got to make sure you don't go over 230 volts as well as 15 amps. Okay, so as it says, the payback period, right, for my solar array will be 2.2, which is 2.2 kilowatt hours. So in the graph, it just shows just between 2.5 years to 3 years, right? So I did email, and I did ask it, because in one of the slides it said that you can connect the 2 strings parallel in order to have a bigger array. And then with my panels, I did send an email, and they said no, ideally you must keep it on 1 string. So I wanted to actually go more panels, but from the recommendation that they said I should rather just keep it on 1 string with 4 panels because of the size of the wattage, I decided to do that. So I'm looking at a payback period of between 2.5 and 3 years. And I mean, that's really not bad. And then thereafter, it will basically be, we wouldn't want free hot water, especially if you're paying almost 4 rand a kilowatt hour to your current electricity provider. Okay, so there's a table that shows the annual average number of showers per day. Okay, so the below table indicates the average of number of showers per day, which a system will supply hot water over a year's period of different solar array peaks. Power ratings. The amount of water heated will vary with weather conditions, geographic locations, and by season. Water heated per day capacity, i.e. if not hot water used on a given day, there will be less water heated on that day. This is only an approximate guide. So all of these numbers are approximates, right? So we can't go by what they say. I mean, you can, but ideally it depends on where the geyser is in your house, where the solar panels, obviously there's some power loss between the solar panel cabling and the device. So there's a lot of factors to what you can actually say the amount of hot water that you'll get in a day. But I'm going to go to Johannesburg, Pretoria. It says a solar in Elon, you get 1,724 kilowatt hours a year based on 1 kilowatt hour. So I'm going to go to Johannesburg and Pretoria, right, which is 1,724 kilowatt hours on average that you will get per kilowatt hour. So I'm going to have 4 panels, which will give you 2.2 kilowatt hours. So I'm going to go to the graph where it shows 2 kilowatt hours. I'm not going to go to 2.5 because that's a bit high. So I'm going to actually go below what I'm actually going to have. Here it says that I should get 5.4 showers on 2 kilowatt hours, but I'll have 2.2. So let's round it off at maybe a little bit more. But this table is also based on a 6-minute shower at 40 degrees. Low flow shower head. All the shower heads use up to 15 liters and would substantially reduce the numbers of showers. So if you've got an older shower head, then that means that you're going to use more water, use more hot water, and you're going to have less hot water. And also this is based on 40 degrees. So if it's a little bit higher, then maybe you have less showers. I'm going to do a monthly update to show you how this all works and what I've experienced. So yeah, so it says just table below says, for example, a solar PV array of 2.5 kilowatts. An installation in Johannesburg would yield 1,724 kilowatt hours per year. For 1,724 kilowatt hours times 2.5 kilowatt hours equals 4,310 kilowatt hours per year produced through the panels. So this would be sufficient for about 6 to 7 showers. I'm not going to be far from that. I'm going to be 300 watts away from that. So I should get 5.5 to 6. But also, as I said, this is based on an 8-minute shower at 40 degrees at each, I suppose each person taking a shower at 40 degrees. And obviously I don't think people are going to be taking showers at that. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting and going to be seeing the numbers and what we experience. Okay, so on the next slide, I'm going to show the graph of the performance between Cape Town and Pretoria. So it says here in winter, Cape Town has much less solar energy output than Pretoria, 1 kilowatt panel system. So basically, like you can see Pretoria, the blue line, it produces like 5.3 kilowatt hours in a day versus in December, it's significantly lower at 4.43 kilowatt hours. And then we're in Cape Town, what it is now, it's raining, it's wet, it's overcast. They're sitting at June, July at 3.2 kilowatt hours per day. But then obviously in November and December, when you have lovely sunshine, you don't have any cloud coverage and so forth, they're getting close to 6 kilowatt hours. Also, their summers are much longer. The hours that the sun is out is much longer than what it is in Johannesburg. So they will get much better performance in their summer months versus us in Pretoria. So let's head on to the next slide. So this is just a basic table showing what kilowatt hours you have, kilowatt hour of panels you have, and what you can expect. So obviously if you have like very basic at the 1 or 1.2 kilowatt hour solar panel array, you probably can only cover like 2 people at plus 50%, and then 1 person to be completely off grid. So I'm at the 1.5 to 2. I'm just going to round it off at 2 because the 0.2, yes, okay, it does make a difference, but I'm just going to round it off at 2, okay? So I'll be able to cover at least 4 people at 50% of hot showers. So I think it's also based on the flow rate of 8 liters and degrees of 40 degrees and so forth. So yeah, it's going to be interesting as to see actually what but it says here at the bottom, 6 minute showers at 40 degrees with 8 liter minute flow shower head, low flow shower head. Yes, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of savings we would get. But I mean, I'll show you the app. There's an app that I'll be able to decide as to when, if I want to use grid or not, but I'm not going to use grid because I've got the gas. But I mean, even the fact that they're saying that it's that amount of showers at that amount of temperature, I mean, like I will be saving quite a bit on gas because at least the temperature that's going to be running into the gas geyser, let's say for example, is 30-40 degrees versus then what it is currently outside right now, which I think is about 17 degrees. So essentially the water has to run through the gas geyser at 17 degrees and heat up to what I got it standard at 50 degrees. That 20 degree difference should save me quite a bit on gas. Let's get to the next table, which is the annual average liters of hot water heated per day. Okay, so the below example table indicates the average number of liters of water per day that the system will heat from 15 to 60 degrees over a year period of different solar array peak power ratings. The amount of water heated will vary with the weather conditions, by geographic location, and by season. Water heated per day will significantly lower in winter and significantly higher in summer, which is obviously to be expected. These numbers indicate heating capacity. For example, if no water was used on a given day, there will be less water heated on that day. This is only for approximate guide. So as I said, there's many variables to it. So these are just probably the tests that they've run in certain provinces, and this is what they got in that house with that solar array, with, so you can't think that this is what you get. This might perform better for me than for you, or this might perform better for you than what it does for me, or your panels are at a better angle or less. I'm just thinking I've got in the front is by my neighbor. He has got a tree which actually in summer obviously blossoms, and then has between about, I'd say, 7 and 8. It's quite a bit of coverage here. So I only start really getting sun around about 8 o'clock, for example, and then I've got a little bit of shade when the sun goes down because of that tree on the other side. So so there's many factors. You could have a tree smack bang in the middle of your household, of your house, and then when the sun comes up, you get the nice sunshine onto the panels, but then when the sun starts setting at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then you start losing, so there's many factors. So for example, an array of 1.2 kilowatt hours, an installation in Johannesburg would yield about 1,724 kilowatt hours, or 1,724 kilowatt hours times 1.2 kilowatt hours, which give us a total 2,069 kilowatt hours per year. This would be sufficient to heat on average 109 liters of water per day. For a family of 2 which is using 80 liters of hot water per day, this would provide about 190 divided by 2, or 68% of annual hot watering requirements. So this is on average. So you could have a good year, or you could have less sun this year, more sun next year. So that is what the average would be. So I would say mine would be 2.2 kilowatt hours times 1,724. I don't know what that comes out to, but I'll put the number exactly down what it would be. That's right there. And that's what I should get a year. All right, so on to the next one is the percentage of annual hot water requirements, right? So the below example table indicates what percentage of annual hot water requirements on average supplied by the system for 2 people, each using 80 liters of hot water, 6-degree water per day. The amount of water heated will vary whether the conditions as your geographic locations and by season. The water heated per day was significantly low in winter and significantly higher in summer, and these numbers indicate heating capacity. For example, if no hot water was used on a given day, there will be less water heated on that day, and this is an approximate guide. So basically the same as the previous one. As I said, it's just an estimate, So we're going to look at Johannesburg again. So 1,724 kilowatt hours. So we're going to go on to the table 2 for me. We're going to go to the 2 kilowatt hour table, right? And it says it should cover the keys at 113%. So we should get, 113%. So that's so because I have a 2.2 kilowatt hour array, it should then get maybe a little bit more. So it says that the 2.5 kilowatt hour array, it goes up to 142%. So I'm just guesstimating it should at least be between 120 and 135%. So an array of 1.2 kilowatt hours will provide approximately 64% of annual hot water requirement for a family of 2 people in Cape Town. An array of 2 kilowatt hours will provide approximately 124% for 2 people, 4 people, 62% of annual hot water requirement for a family of 4 in Bloemfontein. So that means that I should be at least, if it says 62% for 4 people, I should at least, by minimum, I'm just using numbers from the top of my head, minimum at least covering 40% of my hot water, and then gas will be 60%. So diversifying the energy within my household. And obviously, if I run out of gas, I can then just, if it's during the day, fortunately, I can just put on the app, I can just heat the water to a certain temperature. And that's what's nice about this thing, is that it all works on the app. So I'll be able to see the temperature of the water. I'll be able to know how much. I know that it says that it will show you a graph of how much kilowatt hours you're saving, so I'll be able to give that information to you. I will be able to give you over a 6-month period breakdown, a 3-month period breakdown, and just hopefully I could just educate and help people understand how you could save on hot water. And it is a journey. It's also you need to have some lifestyle changes, because obviously I think we're gonna have to maybe shower different times of the day. Because obviously when somebody showers and the water's too cold, then we'll have to wait for obviously the solar to heat up the water, and then the next person can go and shower to obviously drop our gas bill. So going off grid it's a lifestyle change, a lot of sacrifices. So we'll make those sacrifices slowly. But so those are the stats of the Elon Smart Thermostat. I haven't met anyone that has used it. I haven't seen anybody online that has spoken about it. That's why I thought I'll take this onto YouTube and share my experience regarding this. To be honest, like, if I had the money, I would have gone for the IHP water heater. I've got nothing against Elon. I mean, I bought it because I found it the most cost effective and the easiest to understand and easiest to install. But you got the IHP water heater, which is also quite cool, because like that uses 0.6 kilowatt per hour to heat up hot water, and it's basically an all-in-one heat pump. But obviously I didn't have the finances for it, and that is like a once-off fee. I think it's like 31,000 Rand, 33,000 Rand to be installed. Where with the Smart Elon, I paid the Smart Elon over 6 months, and then I Payflex my panels. I've got 3 panels, I need 1 more, so when I'm done Payflexing the 3rd one, I'm gonna Payflex the other one. So it is so far I've spent around about 18,000 Rand, and I still have to pay for installation. I still have to get the geyser installed with the plumber, and then obviously I'm putting on the panels myself.